Welcome back, folks. We are back. AJ Show in the house, episode 13. I'm JkBogen. He is Adam Grego, also known as Adam Steele. You can go follow us on YouTube for our personal accounts. I'm JkBogen. He's Adam Steele. So, Adam.
Yep.
We got some stuff to talk about because finally the NFL schedule's out. We already have some games we're going to.
Yep.
A lot to talk about, a lot to be excited about, you know?
Yeah, I'm excited.
Things are good,
Yeah,
I guess.
dude. I got tickets to 4 games so far, one of them being a Rams game, the Rams-Giants, going to that. Then I got the Steelers-Ravens, December 5th. I got Steelers-Browns, January 3rd. And then you and I are going to Steelers-Broncos, October 10th. And I'm trying to get up to like 8 games total.
You just want to collect all the games?
Yeah.
Like they're like Infinity Stones.
Yeah, trying to go Raiders next. That would be big. But, yeah, man, it's exciting.
No, I definitely feel that. I'm excited to go to some games. Looking to go to SoFi at some point. You know, we'll see how that, if that works out or anything like that. But, all in all, just happy for football. Happy, to have a new quarterback. Can't wait to see him under center.
Yep.
But I'm excited because I'll be going to my first non-Rams game, and I don't know what it's like. I've been to Rams-Bills, Rams-Patriots, Rams-Packers, Rams at the time Redskins. Don't cancel me. It's like and Rams-Saints.
Yep.
And it's like I've never been to another game aside from the Rams.
That's crazy.
So it'll be cool.
Yeah.
Steelers-Broncos.
Yeah, should be fun.
And I'm higher on Drew Lock than other people, so
Right.
I think it'll be a good game. I think you have Fangio's defense. You have what the Steelers are doing on their defensive side. Plus, we get to see Najee Harris, literally leaping over people who are standing up.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see the Rams though in New York. That'll be fun too, because I love New York. It's in New Jersey technically, but
Tax purposes.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. So,
no,
yeah.
I'm definitely excited for
tickets
that.
are on sale. People, start buying your tickets if you want to go to games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. We have no idea what it's going to be like in terms of like COVID and protocol and all that, but I'd imagine it's masks. Like
probably. Yeah, probably.
maybe vaccine cards. I don't know.
Maybe they'd be like, you need a vaccine card and you don't have to wear a mask if you have one or something like that.
I don't know how you prove that.
Yeah, I know.
Because then everyone will just take them.
Right.
But anyway, so enough with that. We're not going to get into that. But what we will do is we will talk about football. There's some breakout stars, something. And honestly, we talked about Najee a little bit ago. I think he is definitely a guy I'm highlighting to break out this year.
Yeah.
I think he's somebody that can transcend. I look at him like kind of like a Steven Jackson, where I think he can transcend a poor offensive line. But on top of that, I'm not convinced the Steelers' offensive line is going to be poor out of the gate. Like, I think they did a nice job of getting some guys that can really develop, but I don't think that there are guys that are, extremely raw to the point where I wouldn't trust them to start at the next level. You get a full off season. They're going to get preseason. Watch. I'm telling you this right now. I'm going to throw it out there. Watch when the offensive line of this class looks way better than last year because they have a preseason.
Yeah, that's definitely going to help, especially, with offensive line. I mean, you're so contingent on playing with the 4 guys, next to you. It's really – there's a lot of chemistry to it for sure. So having a preseason for them to kind of develop and just get the techniques down and understanding your gap assignments and all that kind of stuff, that's definitely super beneficial to offensive linemen in general. So, yeah, hopefully – and I think, everyone was saying, it was a pretty good class for offensive linemen too. Like, it was a talented class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a very talented class. I think there were 10, 11, 12 deep, as far as guys that I think could start.
Yeah.
I mean, a guy that fell outside of my top 10 was Brady Christensen, and, I think he can start, and then you have guys like Braden James who went a little bit later. I think he can start. So, yeah, the offensive tackle depth was impressive. Another guy that I think could really break out is Jalen Waddle in Miami. I've said it before, and I feel like when you look at him, he is very similar to Odell Beckham Jr. When Odell Beckham Jr. kind of broke onto the scene. And if you guys haven't seen his film, and you guys haven't seen his ability after the catch, he takes like a quick slant, 2 guys closing in on him, taking good angles, and he's able to slip through that and take it to the house. Like, he's got that ability where, like, people are saying, well, I don't trust Tua. Tua's going to hold him back. I don't care. I think Tua's going to be fine. I don't think he'll be amazing, but I think he'll be a fine starting quarterback. And what I will say is that all you need to do is get the ball in Jalen Waddle's hands and let him do the work. And keep this in mind, they're not asking him to be the number 1 weapon. They're asking him to go out there with Devontae Parker, with Will Fuller after he gets done with his suspension, and Preston Williams, which, by the way, low-key is a very good receiver room, and Mike Gesicki, and just get things done. And I think, he's definitely a dark horse to be like a Jefferson this year. Because even though he was drafted high, I don't feel like people always put him where he belongs. He is in that conversation. He's
being
my number
slept
1
on a little
wide
bit.
receiver.
Yeah.
But he's in that conversation with Chase and Smith, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, who do you think? Who's your offensive rookie of the year? If you had to take a shot in the dark right now,
man, I mean, it's tough because I think there's a bunch of guys that are options. I mean, I think Trey Lance has a shot. I think Trey Lance will start week 1.
You do?
Because I think everybody's assuming it's like last year, no preseason. I think having preseason games is going to be a game changer for a lot of these decisions that we saw last year.
Very happy about that.
So I could see Trey Lance starting, and if he starts, he's got all the weapons. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle,
great offensive coordinator,
great
who will
offensive.
Help him.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's going to be either like Trey Lance.
I think Lawrence will be up there.
Trevor Lawrence, obviously, just because everything.
Mac Jones is interesting to me because if the Patriots start him, I do think he is capable of starting day 1, and I have mentioned that he can be Rookie of the Year.
Has running backs traditionally won that, or does it usually go to like the top quarterback?
It pretty much always goes. It's like they took the MVP from us, and now they're taking the offensive rookie of the year. It's like, you know what? Like, everyone should just be a quarterback because they get everything.
I would say, Najee Harris should be absolutely in that conversation just because he's the perfect fit.
He's the only running back that I would say guaranteed is in that conversation because you can love. And I know you loved him, Williams, but I mean, he's not going to be the go-to guy right away. Like Najee, there's no competition.
There's nothing.
They're bringing him in to be the guy. Yeah. And with Williams, and I really like Javonte Williams, and he's got a great ceiling, but they still have Melvin Gordon. They added Mike Boone. Like, I won't be surprised if he's in kind of this rotational backfield.
Definitely will. That's what I expect from him.
And I don't think there's anybody else that's in as good of a situation as Najee Harris. I mean, I hate the Travis Etienne fit.
Oh, God, it's awful.
James Robinson's a better running back today.
Yeah.
And you draft him in the first round. I mean, to be honest with you, like, Najee Harris was a first-round pick. I always felt like Etienne was a late second. I thought you could have argued Javonte. Like, Javonte, it's not his fault, but Javonte's not in my argument for Offensive Rookie of the Year because I just think of the fit.
No, the fit's not good.
If he went to the Steelers, he'd be in. Like, it's just there's not opportunity there to be that. You have to, if you're going to be Rookie of the Year with 4 quarterbacks arguably starting this year,
you got to be in there week 1,
top.
Every down back, too.
You have to be Saquon. Yeah. You have to be Adrian Peterson Rookie Year. You have to be Todd like, that's what you have to be. And that's what I think Najee Harris can come in and do. Javonte can, but not with that situation in Denver.
He probably just won't get the snaps that he needs to do it.
He was a second rounder, so we'll see. And I think some of these guys will surprise us. Here's a guy that is kind of a dark horse. No, not a dark horse. A guy that no one's talking about that I love is if you guys are in fantasy and you want to go after, a rookie running back that maybe nobody's talking about but could have a big impact this year, Javion Hawkins. He's from Louisville. He went UDFA. The Falcons have nobody except for Mike Davis, who I like, but do you feel Mike Davis is a go-to bell cow guy? No. They're not bringing back Todd Gurley. Quadri Olson's a former 5th-round pick out of Pittsburgh a few years ago. I just don't see anything there to tell me, like Javion Hawkins, when I was watching the film for the Tutu Atwell video I came up with, and then I was watching Des Fitzpatrick's film, I like them both. But a guy that just kept standing out to me was Javion Hawkins. His ability, first off, his contact balance is great. So he's going to run right through, the first guy. He's going to make the next guy miss, and he can take it to the house. And I don't know how he went undrafted. Like, I don't get it. But I think Atlanta might be smart to roll with him. And I think they will, have him, at least him and Mike Davis together in that backfield. He's a fantasy option for you guys. I think he has a chance to be maybe a James Robinson this year. Because if you remember Robinson, they had coming into the year, they had a guy who got hurt. Well, they had Leonard Fournette, and then they had a guy that was going to be the starter who they drafted, and then he got hurt, and then Robinson took over. I don't remember the guy's name. I know they had Divine Ozigbo, but they had another guy whose just name is totally escaping me.
Yeah.
And he was hurt all year. So then James Robinson broke onto the scene, was great. And I feel like Javian Hawkins is the James Robinson of the season.
Okay, I'll keep that name in mind.
So,
yeah, I don't know. It's probably going to be a quarterback, obviously, for Offensive Rookie of the Year. But
do you think Zach Wilson has a shot in New York, or New Jersey?
Probably not.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
It's
Trevor Lawrence or Trey to me.
That's how I think Justin Fields has an opportunity.
Well, I just don't know what they're going to do with him. Like,
yeah, no, I mean, like, if he starts, yeah.
Then maybe, yeah.
But I also just don't want to, like, can we please, like, these offensive coaches, I'm hoping to God aren't just going to be like, yeah, we're going to slow play things. Like, don't slow play it with. Justin Fields isn't this, like, developmental quarterback. He can play tomorrow. Like, he's ready.
Yeah, he's just as ready as, like, a Trey Lance.
I think they all are.
Or Mac Jones. He's on that tier. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence even. Yeah.
I think the biggest learning curve, I've said this, will be Zach Wilson.
Probably.
I think it'll surprise people because Trey Lance, everyone just says, well, he played at FCS. I'm like, he's calling his own plays line of scrimmage, making his own protections.
Under center.
Yeah. He wasn't a clapper. He wasn't a guy that's looking over. Okay, that's what I'm running. All right, cool. Like, he was running his own stuff. So, I don't know. To me, I'm kind of over that. Wide receivers, we talked about, Jalen, of course. Chase, I think, is in a great spot with Burrow. What do you think about the Bengals? Because I saw your video on Adam Sheen, and even he thinks, like, the Bengals are going to be a problem for the Steelers. I think it's ridiculous to say they're going to be a problem for the Steelers, but I don't know if I'm, like, I don't feel like the Bengals are going to make the playoffs, but are they going to be like that team you don't want to play? Like, how much?
It's tough because they're...
Yeah, I just don't know how good they're going to be.
I think they're going to be... I think they could win, like, 7-8 games.
I think they would sign up for that.
Yeah.
That's a good, that's a good landing point.
I think they could do it.
Well, I think Chase and Boyd, I think that's going to be a good thing.
The
with
receivers
Higgins.
are great.
But I'm just saying, like, their defense, I don't love. They have some pieces, but
and the offensive line didn't really get much better.
That's another thing. Whose
Kind of a
offensive
big
line
deal.
did get a lot better? The Kansas City Chiefs.
I know. Why did the rest of the NFL let them address their only weakness well?
I have no idea. They'll still play Dan Sorensen though, or Daniel Sorensen at safety for whatever reason.
They love him. But
I don't get it.
I mean, I can't believe the rest of the NFL dropped the ball and just let the Chiefs totally rebuild their line and fill it with good players. It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I have no words for that, to be honest with you. I don't understand why you would trade with them.
I know the Ravens gave
it.
away Orlando Brown to the the kings of the AFC right now. Like, come on, Ravens, what are you doing?
I hear you, man.
Not helping anyone.
I don't get that. Now, the Chiefs. I sat here at this same table with you, and I said the Chiefs will not make the Super Bowl next year.
Yep.
Because looking at them, getting rid of Eric Fisher, just moving on, especially with their right tackle, Schwartz, who might be the best in the game, I just was like, I don't like where this team's going. And I feel like this team refuses to go out and get a legit, like, other weapon aside from Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, because
That's kind of true. Did they really add any offensive weapons in the draft?
That I was going to bring this guy up. So he's, I think, a sleeper breakout player this year, Cornell Powell. Remember that name?
He a receiver?
Yeah. He's built like a Greek god.
Okay.
Like, he's got, like, the perfect body structure for a receiver. 6'1", I believe he's like 200 pounds. He was one of Trevor Lawrence's top targets.
Okay.
I thought his film was better than Amari Rodgers.
Wow. Okay.
Because I know everyone just assumed Amari Rodgers was the better guy, but like I'm getting the receiver size at 6'1", Rodgers more 5'8", 5'9". Like size is not a skill. I know I've said that, and normally I don't mind. Like size isn't a huge deal for me. Receivers I do like to be at least 6 foot. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's just me. And they already have a guy on the roster in Mecole Hardman who's kind of like that, you know.
He was supposed to be
the jitterbug type of guy.
Yeah, but he just isn't good.
He's all right, but like they had Sammy Watkins who they're paying 12, 14 million to. You know, he goes to the Ravens. That'll be interesting. We'll see if he revitalizes his career there. But we saw in the Super Bowl, man, if you can't get it to Kelsey or Tyreek Hill, like I don't care how great Mahomes is, like they needed another guy. Cornell Powell could be that guy. I'm not sleeping on him.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'll keep that name in mind for sure. Cornell Powell. I mean,
he's got the name.
If they wake
Cornell
up,
Powell touchdown, you know, like
if he steps into that and being that guy, that third option, I mean,
yeah,
that's a great team right there.
And
scary.
I'm excited to see Clyde Edwards-Helaire as well in that offense in year 2. I think they actually ruined him a little bit when they brought in Le'Veon Bell.
But they really didn't do much with Le'Veon Bell.
It's not that they didn't do much with him. It's more so like the reason I didn't like it is because I felt like it was like, hey, we're putting all our confidence in you to be our guy, drafting you 32nd overall, and then we're going to go out and get Le'Veon Bell. So we don't actually trust you. And then they went all like running back by committee. I know he got hurt, but that was before he got hurt. So like I didn't like that approach. Another guy who I really haven't liked the approach of with the New England Patriots, Damian Harris. Watch out for him. That's his backfield now. Like Sony Michel was their first-round pick. Harris was, I think, a third out of Alabama.
He's taking over Sony's
job?
job?
Absolutely. He took over last year pretty much. Sony fell off, man. And when I said that Nick Chubb was a better player on film coming out of Georgia than Sony Michel, and I didn't understand the Sony Michel hype, that's what I meant.
Well, yeah, he clearly is. I mean, he's a monster.
Because Chubb tore his ACL, and then everyone went to like
him, yeah.
It was like recency bias. Everyone's like, "Ooh, like you know that meme? Like they caught the attention. Like Sony Michel caught everyone's attention.
Yeah.
And then Chubb's like, all right, like you know."
And now he's
one of the top running backs.
That Browns offense, him and Kareem.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
crazy.
So, you know, we're talking players and all sorts of stuff like that. But do you have a change in like? Let's say this. Do you have a top 7 in each conference right now, like early on?
Teams-wise?
Yeah, like who's going to go to the playoffs?
7's hard to call.
I know.
I could do like a top 3.
I'll give my top 7 if that kind of helps.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so
let me pull up the team so I can.
So my number 1 team. We'll start with the AFC. I'm gonna say the Chiefs. I still think the Chargers like go to the Super Bowl, but I could see the Chiefs winning the division if that makes sense. The Chiefs to me, you just can't really sleep on them after they did that to the offensive line, going out, getting Brown, getting Blythe, getting
Creed Humphrey.
Like,
come on, bro. I mean, how did we let them do that? The NFL failed us. Well, the Steelers and the Rams both kind of let them do that. They were big pieces in letting them get away with that.
I can't. And then they got Kyle Long. Yeah, and I think Kyle Long's going to have a good year. Don't sleep on him just because he retired. He's in great game shape. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs won. I'm going to say the Browns 2. I think the Browns
the
are
second best AFC team?
They're nuts.
So you believe in Baker?
I think Baker has way too much to, like, actually hurt that team.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you look at that roster and you're like, all right, like, Trent Dilfer's winning a Super Bowl with that team.
This up, yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't think they'll win a Super Bowl, but I think they're getting there. And also, Baker's had his moments. The thing is, he has to go back to, like, his rookie year. He lost his confidence, man. I don't know if it was getting hit or what, but, like, I noticed that. You noticed that for sure. I don't know. Like, I'm not obsessed with Baker Mayfield. I liked him a lot more coming out. I liked him his rookie year. But I'm not done with him, and I do think Odell Beckham Jr. coming back, they're riding with him. That's not a guy that they're looking to trade. So I'm curious to see that. So I have the Chiefs 1, Browns 2, Buffalo is 3 for me. I think New England has a chance to win that division. I really do, but it's dependent on if they play Mac Jones. They're not doing it with Cam Newton. I think Mac Jones could give him that opportunity. I don't think Cam Newton has it. But Buffalo's done a great job. They went out. They got Russo in the first round. They have guys that they've gotten over the years. Ed Oliver, guys like that. Now, Buffalo made an interesting move when they went and grabbed Emmanuel Sanders in free agency. I'm very curious to see that because Emmanuel Sanders, like Josh Allen's already doing so well with what he has there, but now you add Emmanuel Sanders who can really play all over, in the slot, the boundary, and he's such a good receiver. You saw how much, how impactful he was with the Saints. You saw how impactful he was with the Niners. I think this is going to be a big-time ad for the Bills that I don't think enough people are talking about, to go with Cole Beasley, who, by the way, was a second-team All-Pro last year, who I always have to bring up. So, I like what the Bills are doing. They're number 3 for me. And then number 4, I'm going to go with Indy. I think Indy is the best team in that division. I know there's people that aren't as high on Carson Wentz, but the fact of the matter is I think Carson Wentz is going to have a good football season. They went out and they finally got his offensive tackle. It's going to be Eric Fisher at left tackle. Love that move because we criticized the hell out of them for not picking a tackle, and rightfully so. I don't know how you sit there and you're like, you have Carson Wentz, you're not going to draft one of these tackles. They had it all along. They were going to go out and get Eric Fisher. So I'm definitely down with that. Makes sense. Chris Ballard's from the Chiefs. I didn't even think about that. So, it definitely makes sense. But, what they were able to do, adding those 2 pieces, I'm not as high on them, but clearly they're very high on Kwity Paye and Dayo Odenigbo. So, we'll see that if that helps their pass rush. But, what they were able to get out of guys like Julian Blackmon, from Utah, the safety who had a monster year last year, what they were able to get, out of, I forget the guy's name, Leonard, the linebacker, totally.
Leonard Floyd?
No.
Who?
They're inside linebacker. He's a stud. You loved him. South Carolina State, I think. I totally forgot his name.
Oh my God! Yeah, why am I blanking?
Yeah, why am I? I don't know why I'm blanking on his name.
I do know who you're talking about though. So,
but like the point is like, Chris Ballard's been doing a really good job of building out this roster, and I think like people can hate on Carson Wentz all they want, but at worst, you're going to have a really good offensive line, and you have Marlon Mack back as your backup behind Jonathan Taylor. So that run game's going to do well as well.
So they're your 4th team?
They're my 4th team. Fuck. So 5th, this is tough for me. I'm going to go with the Chargers here.
Dang, over the Steelers, bro.
I have the Steelers making
on us.
No, I have the Steelers making the playoffs, but
bro.
but yeah, I think the Chargers are legit.
No way.
And
not better than the Steelers.
And I think Herbert, I just really trust him. I like that they went out and got Rashawn Slater. And I like that they went out and got Asante Samuel Jr. And I think Brandon Staley is going to give the Chiefs a run for their money. They probably split, and that's going to be close. And the AFC is going to be disgusting this year because number 6, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to do really well. Najee Harris, I think, will be up for Offensive Rookie of the Year. And I think when you look at that defense, they'll be back to full form. I laugh at the fact, like in your video, Adam Sheen was saying, Bud Dupree isn't walking through the door, as if like what they did getting a 6th-round pick, Quincy Roche, who's very, very NFL ready, they're not going to have him or Highsmith, which they've been grooming for a year. I told you, I think Roche is ahead of where Highsmith was last year, but that means you pretty much have 2 guys on the same page. You have TJ Watt, who was runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. You have, Cam. You have all those guys to it. In the middle, you got Tyson Alu back. And most importantly, that defense was not the same when Devin Bush went down. They'll have Devin Bush back. So this idea that like, oh, Bud Dupree's not coming through the door, I can't subscribe to that notion because they're already a really good defense. They went out, they got my guy Kendrick Green for the offensive line. They got some other guys as well. Pat Freiermuth actually has a chance to be like a big-time key contributor. He kind of reminds me a little bit, like he'll add what Heath Miller brought, but like he's a way more athletic version. And he reminds me a little bit of Mike Gesicki from Penn. Then he goes to the Dolphins.
Yep.
But he also has a little bit of TJ in him, TJ Hawkinson. So, that'll be interesting there to see that. But I just think that they have so much going for them. And I'm not like one of those people that just sells Ben short. Like, I think Ben Roethlisberger has 2 years left. Like, realistically.
Yeah, he's probably. Yeah, I would say too.
So I think the Steelers get the 6th seed, and then the 7th seed. This is so hard. I wanted to put the Patriots in the playoffs because I really do feel like they have a great roster, but it's the Ravens.
Yeah.
I think the Ravens.
So no Titans?
The Titans fall out. I think losing Arthur Smith could hurt them. They also, they shuffled a lot with their secondary. I didn't love their draft. So I will say this. I think the Ravens here, Lamar Jackson has some weapons that they just added. Obviously, you go out, you get Bateman, you sign Sammy Watkins in the offseason. But you already have guys like Duvernay, Marquise Brown. You have J.K. Dobbins going into his 2nd year. Gus, I can't even believe how good Gus Edwards is now. He came out of nowhere, and now all of a sudden, like, I just feel like he gets better each year. So they have some stuff going on there. Their offensive line, I really like what they're doing with their offensive line. They did replace Orlando Brown, and then their defense is really good as well. And I just feel like, guys like when they got like Malik Harrison last year, and they have my guy Patrick Queen as well. I just think like those picks that they made, that maybe those guys weren't like super key contributors last year, they'll be better this year. You have Marcus Peters, you have Marlon Humphrey. It's a good secondary in the back end. So, all in all, I would not be surprised if the Ravens win the division, just like I won't be surprised if the Steelers win the division. I won't be surprised if the Browns. I have to give it to the Browns at this moment. I think that division is going to be a literal dogfight for the top 3. The Bengals are going to win maybe 7, 8 games, but they're going to be pretty much everything about the Bengals. They're going to be at the mercy of the division. I would not be surprised if they get swept by those teams.
I think, okay, well, all right, here's how I would break it down. So, obviously, I'm going to put the Chiefs first, okay, because they were just in the Super Bowl. We talked about and gushed about how they just got better at their weakest, spot along the offensive line.
Yeah.
Second, I'm gonna go with the Bills. As much as I don't want to, I think they're still a really good team. I think Josh Allen is for real. I do believe in him. I love their defense as usual. I just love the way they play football too. It's very consistent. It's very, what you're kind of going to get from them, and they just stick to a blueprint. They have an identity, which is always kind of important to me. So I like the Bills again this year. Third, and honestly, when I think about it, I guess it's more fair to have the Browns where you had them, is a toss-up for me between the Browns and the Steelers. I'm going to go Steelers because, one, I'm a Steelers fan and I'm going to be biased. That's just how it is. But also because Cleveland, I want to see Baker Mayfield actually play well in a stadium where there's pressure and he's in enemy territory and fans are booing him and he's, in his head. I want to see him do that. I still think that totally matters in those bright lights. I haven't seen him perform well in ever. So I want to see that. And I think, again, one of the Steelers' biggest strengths is playing under pressure, especially Ben Roethlisberger, because he's done it so much. He shines in the biggest moments when there's a lot of pressure. So I'm going to say the Steelers are third, Browns closely following fourth. Then fifth, I'm going to say the Titans are still in there. I still think they're a playoff team. I like them a lot. I love Derrick Henry. He runs that offense through and through. Lets Tannehill just kind of do his thing, little play action stuff, make his life nice and easy. Good defense, great defense. So fifth is Titans. Sixth, I'll go Ravens. I think there's going to be 3 AFC North teams in the playoffs again. And they're a good team, great defense, as you said. Hard to play against because they're so weird. They're so unique. They're such a run-heavy offense, and they have 3 guys who can run the ball really well, including the quarterback. Again, I like their defense a lot. It's just nasty. It shuts you down. It tires you out, beats you up. So I'll say Ravens 6th, and then 7th. This is tough. I haven't decided yet. I'm still looking. So 7th. Who do I want to slide into 7th? Oh, God. I'll go Chargers. I'll say Chargers at 7. I like where Justin Herbert's going. I think he's going to be good. I like what they're doing. I don't think they're better than the Steelers right now, but I do think they'll probably get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I think so. Our 7 is it's different because you have the Titans.
The Titans sneaking in there as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
You put in
the Colts.
The Colts, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's between those two. And then what I will say is that the dynamic of, say, Aaron Rodgers goes to the Broncos, and that completely flips that upside down. I think the Broncos win. I think they win the conference if they get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, and I think they're going to have a chance with Locke to make the playoffs. It's just the AFC is loaded.
It's loaded.
It's so loaded. I mean, like the Raiders I don't think are that bad, but the Raiders I don't think have a chance. You know? I think the Broncos will be in it at the end. I think the Titans. I think the Patriots.
Yeah, it's going to be
Dolphins,
a dogfight. A long 17-week.
The Dolphins. That's the
18-week dogfight.
It's hard to not put the Dolphins in because I really do like what they're doing, but it's like, you know, it's just too hard.
I mean,
you know?
I'm looking at the AFC, bro, and like,
by far the worst team is the Houston Texans.
But all these teams are.
That's the only team I would just absolutely say no chance in hell they make it.
But like even they have Deshaun Watson right now. But like, dude, you look at the AFC, every team has at least who they believe to be
a quarterback.
Their quarterback.
Yeah.
Which is very rare. Like very, very rare. It's a nasty division, bro. No easy wins on that side of the conference at all.
No, I'm thinking because I mean I was doing the top 7 as opposed to like, you know, wild card and all that. So I have my wild card would be at 5 I had the Chargers. At 6 I had the Steelers. At 7 I had the Ravens. Now the NFC I think is a little easy because at the top I think they're more top heavy, if that makes sense. I think the AFC has way more depth. So
yeah,
because I think the NFC have Super Bowl contenders like galore at the top with the Rams, the Bucks, the Packers. But you know,
Seattle, you gotta say.
Well,
you don't like them that much.
We'll get into this.
Oh boy!
All right, let's do it. NFC. I know this conference a little bit more, so that's why like when people are like, oh boy. So like when people are like, why do you act like the AFC is so loaded? And it's like, I don't know, man. It just always takes me by surprise how many teams have a shot. The NFC is more kind of, they have the toughest division in football in the NFC West, but it's like, I feel like after that, it's gotten a little easier to kind of decide. The Eagles don't look very good.
Nah, not a fan of them.
I don't feel like the Cardinals are up there with, you know, the Rams and the Packers and Buccaneers. The Falcons, I don't know what to make of them, you know. So I mean, it has gotten a little easier. What I'll say, number 1, I think it's going to be the Rams. I think the Rams are going 15-2 this year. I said that on my live stream.
So disrespectful.
Well, I have
the Bucks.
I have the Buccaneers going 14-3.
Yeah, but they just returned everyone for the first time ever from a Super Bowl team.
I
You're
know.
going to say that the Rams are going to leapfrog them?
The Rams took them to
That's bold.
They went to their house last year, and they beat them with Jared Goff.
I know.
And I feel like Matthew Stafford, because they're going to play week 3. Here's the crazy thing.
I like it. I like the
that
boldness.
Might be the most important game on the schedule in the NFC. Because if the Rams lose to the Bucks have that tiebreaker all year. But if the Rams beat the Bucks have that tiebreaker all year. And I think these are two teams that are going to be top in the NFC. And we don't know what's going on with Rodgers. So, I mean, who knows with that? But anyway, assuming Rodgers stays in Green Bay. Rams at 1. I think when you look at what they did, adding Stafford, they added Deshaun Jackson, they added Tutu Atwell. That is the most depth-filled wide receiver room I've ever seen. You have Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Van Jefferson, Deshaun Jackson, Tutu Atwell, and Jacob Harris. Who has that? Who has anything like that? The Steelers. They're the closest team. but they're missing one more guy or two more guys after Washington, but they're 4 deep. And then what they did in the draft going out and they got a starting linebacker. He may not be in my first choice, but Ernest Jones. I think Ernest Jones is going to be, the old school thumper they were looking for. He'll be healthy, hopefully, because he's kind of similar to what Micah Kaiser brought to the table. But you're looking at a tackling machine that will allow a guy that they're getting back from injury. He was going to be a starter. He missed the entire season last year due to an injury. That is Traven Howard, the former safety from TCU. A 7th-round pick in the 2017 NFL Draft. They have high hopes for him. He's a guy that can kind of cover everything, very, very athletic. So they want a guy that's more of an old-school thumper at one of the linebacker spots, and then they want a guy that can kind of do it all as a versatile, coverage linebacker, sideline-to-sideline guy, a guy like you and I like the majority of the time.
Yeah.
So I like that. Their secondary, I understand they lose John Johnson the third, but they've literally added 3 stud safeties over the last 2 drafts, before this year, in Jordan Fuller, Terrell Burgess, who's coming back from injury, and Taylor Rapp, who's also coming back from injury. Rapp's your pseudo linebacker, can play in the box. You liked him a lot more than I did.
Yeah.
Operates well around the line of scrimmage. Terrell Burgess is kind of your do-it-all guy in the secondary, can play nickel, can play safety. He can be your center fielder. He ran a 4.4, was a big-time contributor for that crazy Utah secondary with him and Blackman and Jalen Johnson. And then Jordan Fuller is the most – it's surprising because he was a 6th-round pick, but he's the most productive of the 3, and he really blew up last year. He's going to take over for John Johnson. So – like what they did there, replacing John Johnson, and then they lost Troy Hill, but they went out and they got Robert Rochelle. They have a 3rd-round pick in 2019, who I may not be as high on, but I think they're really high on, in David Long.
Yep.
So that defense, they lost some pieces, but I think Raheem Morris has a lot working for him. So that's a top 10 defense in my book. You know how I feel about Stafford. I think he's thrown over 50 touchdowns, over 5,000 yards.
I saw your stat line. You think he's the MVP?
I think he's going to win the MVP.
Yep.
And, I mean, it would be hard not to if his offensive line performs top 10 like they did last year. They lost Austin Blythe. They'll just move in Austin Corbett at center. They'll have another guy. They have plenty of depth on the offensive line, something a lot of people don't realize. And then they have Tyler Higbee, who will be healthy this year. He was hurt all last year. Oh, they lost Gerald Everett. Not a big deal. They get my number 1 tight end last year in Bryson Hopkins. And then their running backs, they have Cam Akers and Darrell Henderson. So when you add Stafford to that, I think they're arguably one of the most complete teams we've seen over the last 5 years in football.
Okay.
Then at number 2, Tampa, who arguably might be the most complete team I've seen over the last 5 years. The thing about Tampa, though, is that I really think it comes down to that Rams game. And I also think with the 17-game schedule, I have a hard time finding losses on the schedule for the Rams. I have 2, the 49ers and the Ravens. But with Tampa, Tom Brady notoriously gets off to bad starts. He always does. He did last year. Remember, just give him some time. And it did, right? I don't think necessarily this year you're going to be able to do that and get the number 1 seed. They didn't do it last year, right? So, I think that's why, to me, I have him at 2. Tom Brady gets off to those slow starts. I think the Rams having the 37-0 record under Sean McVay when leading at halftime. They did that with Goff. I think they'll be leading a lot more at halftime with Stafford. So that's the reason I have that. Number 3, Green Bay. Because if we're assuming Aaron Rodgers is with Green Bay is the 3rd best team in the NFC. And then number 4, this is a little tricky here. It's going to surprise some people. I did really like what Washington did. I'm higher on Fitzpatrick than most people are. But I'll say this. I think the New York Giants are going to shock everyone, and they're going to win the division. Look at what Joe Judge did. First off, I think he's the best coach in the division. I think he's better than Mike McCarthy. He's better than Ron Rivera, and he's better than a rookie coach that I've never seen coach before in Nick Sirianni with the Eagles. But Joe Judge is going to have Saquon Barkley back. Daniel Jones is going to go back to himself because he was hurt. He played hurt all year, it seemed like. And that offensive line got better. The offensive line got better. On top of that, you look at what they have in the weapons that they added. They go out, they get Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney to go with Darius Slayton, Sterling Shepard. They added John Ross in free agency. They have Dante Pettis. That's a pretty good looking receiver group. Then they go out. They still have Evan Ingram, who you really liked come out of the draft in 2017. They have Kyle Rudolph. I love that selection, like picking him up in free agency, because Kyle Rudolph is going to be a big-time player for them. He wasn't really able to do a lot in Minnesota because of all the weapons they had, but they really utilized him well in the red zone. So I think that's going to be the security blanket that Daniel Jones opts to go to. But when you look at what Patrick Graham did last year with that defense, and now you're adding guys like Azeez Ojulari in the second round, you had they went out and got Adoree Jackson, I really like that they kept their defense together. They brought back Leonard Williams. To me, that's a really well put together defense. They have a really good offense. I'm not done with Daniel Jones because they're not. I'm willing to see what he brings to the table. Now he has a Galladay that he can throw it up to. Again, you don't have to be pinpoint accurate when you have a guy like Kenny Galladay. And you have Kadarius Toney, who I'm really excited to see how they use him. So really excited to see what the Giants do there. I have them at 4. Number 5, tough for me. I really like Dallas because they're getting Dak back. He's going to be healthy. They have a ton of weapons there. They had Simi Fehoko to go to that crazy wide receiver group in Dallas. And furthermore, I like what they did adding Keanu Neal, and they went out and got DeMonte Casey for the secondary. They also got their biggest acquisition might not even be a player. They went out and they got Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn doesn't have to be a head coach. I know everyone's like, Dan Quinn sucked last year. But Dan Quinn was a great defensive coordinator, and he was pretty much the go-to guy with the Legion of Boom. So now Dallas, they fixed the biggest thing. The biggest issue they had was their secondary, and they're going to fix that, I think, with Dan Quinn. They went out and they got what's his face last year, the cornerback from Alabama. I really like what they did overall. Nashawn Wright's another guy, 6'3", cornerback / safety. So they'll get some versatility out of him. Picked him a little early. I was surprised by that, but we'll see. They're pretty high on him. So I like what they're doing there. Now, I'm not going to pick them at 5. The reason being is I think the Niners are maybe going to end up being the second or third best team. They might be better than the Packers, but I have them making the wild card since I have the Rams winning the division. I think the Niners with Trey Lance, they're the 5th seed. I think they did a great job going out. They get Lance. They got Trey Sermon. You look at, what they've added over the years and how big their depth is. Here's the thing. Their issue has been injuries. That's it. And if they stay healthy, they're going to have an opportunity to win that division. I have them as the 5th seed. The 6th seed, I'm going to go with Washington here. I like what Dallas did, but I just think Washington is loaded on their defense. I do really, really like Ryan Fitzpatrick a lot more than most people. I love the pickup of Will Jackson the third in the back end and the secondary, as much as I like the pickup of Curtis Samuel for their wide receiver room. They're going to be getting a guy that I'm pretty high on, or at least I was high on in the draft. I just think like Antonio Gibson and their offensive line, the way it's been, I really like what Washington brings to the table. They're 6 for me. And then 7. This is tough because, I really like the Saints with Jameis Winston. But I wouldn't be surprised. They had over $100 million in cap space that they were over. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make the playoffs. I'm going to go with a crazy one here, all right? I'm going to go with the Carolina Panthers. I think that the Panthers here with Sam Darnold, I've been saying it for a while, don't sleep on Sam Darnold. They went out and they got Terrace Marshall in the draft, which was a killer draft pick. He's going to add so much to not only diversify the receiver room, but he's going to add so much on the boundary, a guy that can go up and get it at 6'4", and very athletic. So you're going to add him to DJ Moore, David Moore, and Robbie Anderson, who Sam Darnold already had familiarity with to begin with. Their offensive line is pretty good. They went out and they got a stud at cornerback in J.C. Horn. I really like what they did. And they went out and got a guy that I really like in Hassan Reddick, who had his best season last year, to team up with his old coach at Temple, who's now the coach there in Matt Rule. So Carolina, I had them last year. I don't have them winning the division this year. That's Tampa's. But I do think they make the playoffs, and that means it's the Saints, it's the Seattle Seahawks, it is the Arizona Cardinals, the Bears, and they're all out of the playoffs. Dallas, all out of the playoffs. So,
All right.
that's my 7.
Okay. Yeah, interesting.
Crazy, right?
Yeah. I would say, well, obviously, naturally, I'm going to put the Bucks at number 1 because, like I said, you just won the Super Bowl. I think they had a good draft.
Yeah.
And they returned all 22 starters, which I think, again, is something that's never been done before from a Super Bowl team, which is nuts to me. That just blows my mind. Number 2, can't go Rams. I'm sorry. Can't go Rams. Got to go Packers at number 2, assuming Rodgers is there. We're assuming he's there and playing, and he's not going to throw a fit and pout, but that's a whole nother situation. But it's Aaron Rodgers. It's a good defense. They keep adding to it. They're trying to get there. I think some of their key defenders, I hope, will take another step this year as they get more experience.
Stokes was a good pickup.
Yeah, I like Eric Stokes a lot. So yeah, Packers at number 2 for me. Then I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say the Giants are number 3. I think they win their division. Yeah, I like them a lot. It all hinges on Daniel Jones for me. You broke down how good their team is as far as roster and talent, and there is literally 0 holes on this team except Daniel Jones, the question mark.
Yeah.
So if he puts it together, or he can be even serviceable, I think they're the best team in that division. Hands down, honestly, in my opinion. I think everyone else has a lot of weaknesses, including the Dallas Cowboys. So Giants at 3. Where am I going next? Now, this is tough. Your division. Who do I go with?
You're like, I saw how low you put the Steelers.
No, it's not even like that. It really isn't.
I'm missing.
The Rams, I like the Rams. I love their defense. I love Sean McVay. He's a genius. He's amazing at I gush over watching his offenses. It annoys me how good it is. But it's tough with Matthew Stafford because, yes, I think Matthew Stafford is talented. But, for me, people make excuses for him a lot. And to me, I've always seen great quarterbacks as guys who can still overcome and not have losing season after losing season after losing season, and he's had a lot of those. God, this is so tough. I'll go Rams, though. I will say Rams are 4. I think they win the division. Just because I don't know what we're going to get with Trey Lance. I think they're definitely a better overall team than the Seattle Seahawks. Arizona Cardinals, I'm not that high on Kyler. I'm not. I know a lot of people like him.
I love Kyler, but let's stop acting like it's this year they're going to win a Super Bowl. They're a year or 2 away.
Yeah, I'm just not.
That's how I feel.
Just not that excited by them. So, so Rams win that division. I'll go there, and then let's see, who are my wild cards? Who do I want to put in there? You know what? For my 5th spot, I'm going to go with the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to trust Trey Lance.
See, you and I are on the same wavelength here with the NFC West.
Again, this is assuming he starts from day 1, so he gets to grow with the team and work out his kinks in the beginning. I'll go with San Francisco as the wild card out of that division there. 6. I want to go Minnesota.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough because they haven't really done anything with Cousins.
Yeah, I know, but I like them, and I look at these teams, and a lot of them the Falcons, what are they doing right now? The Panthers, I don't really believe in. The Saints, they're riding with Jameis Winston. I feel like them kind of dipping out now leaves that door open for a team like the Vikings to kind of sneak up in there and take that potential spot. So I'll go with the Vikings because, again, it's not really about Kirk Cousins. It's more just about overall it's a pretty good team. I love Dalvin Cook. I think he's really amazing. I think their defense is better than what they get credit for. I know it's not, the best. It's definitely not a Rams or a Steelers or insert your favorite defense, even a Cleveland Browns or a Ravens, but I like their defense. And for my last pick going in, I'm going to throw the Lions in there just for fun.
I like that.
I'm gonna throw the
I mean,
Lions in.
all right. So I left the Lions out, but like, I'll say this: if Rodgers doesn't hear me out, if Rodgers leaves Green Bay, I don't trust Jordan Love to just come in and win the division, and then it opens up the door. The Bears depends if they start Justin Fields. I think they have a shot. The Vikings go with the more experienced quarterback in the entire division, or Jared Goff and the Lions.
And I would go Jared Goff on that.
I would too.
And I like their coach too. I like what they're doing. I think they have weapons. Lions, man, I could see him sneaking in with Jared Goff. I really could.
I think he just, I mean, you know my theory. I think he needed a change of scenery.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I'm higher on the Lions than,
Are you?
most people.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. Like, I've been saying, like, Vegas odds, I think they have them winning, like, the over-under is, like, 4 games.
Nah.
Like, I want to go.
Mean, that's if worst
that
case
makes
scenario.
me want to go to the casino right now and just
that's like
slam the over.
Worst case scenario. I think Jared Goff can get you more than 4 wins. That's crazy.
This is the time to bet on them because now everybody's like, Jared Goff's stock couldn't be lower, but I think people are also forgetting how well he played with 9 fingers and in the freezing cold of Lambeau.
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't lose them that game. Let's be real here. The defense lost them the game.
Yeah.
Aaron Donald being hurt, and then the fact the number 1 defense without one player just crumbled.
Yeah. Well, he's that critical to them. But yeah. But I think this is gonna be a weird year. I'm really not excited about the 17 games, by the way. How do you feel about that? I am not excited, especially for a team that's a little older at the quarterback position, the Steelers.
I don't blame you.
That concerns me, and it's not good for players in general, man. 17 games, that's 18
Well, and then
weeks.
people are like, oh, they're just getting rid of preseason. I was like, oh, yeah, do your starters play your preseason games?
No.
Like, that's,
I'm sure they're still going to get the full, like...
I don't know. The way I look at it is they took away a developmental, because that's what they are. Preseason games are developmental. So they took away a developmental preseason game. So that hurts the young, that hurts the young player ecosystem. And then on top of that, they added a game, so that hurts player safety. So I just don't understand it besides the fact, they want to make money. I mean, they charge full price for a preseason game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it's their business. They can do what they want, obviously, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I'm concerned about it. I'm concerned about the health of the players, specifically the older ones. And I'm also concerned about the records, man. 8-9 is so gross. 7-10, 11-6.
What did Cynthia Freeland have you guys at? She has the Rams winning 9 games, 9-8.
So missing the playoffs.
I would assume. I don't know.
I don't know what she put. I'm sure she put us very low.
By the way, I wasn't
Nobody
a huge fan of the 7-team playoffs, but now I actually get it. Think about it. How hard was that for you just now to put 7 teams together? There are teams that are good that won't make the playoffs.
It's just kind of weird when, I don't know. It's fine. I gotten over that. Maybe we'll get over the record thing as well.
Probably not. What do you think about the numbers?
It's terrible. Oh, the jersey numbers.
Yeah, they're
I thought
terrible.
you meant the record numbers. The jersey numbers.
I don't know how I feel.
I like
some of them. All right, so like a linebacker wearing 30s, I'm okay with.
No, I actually hate that.
Really?
I like a lot. I think linebackers in single digits are kind of cool. I think defenders in single digits are cool. I don't like the receivers doing single digits. It's weird.
Okay.
It just makes me uncomfortable.
So you don't want your quarterback wearing number 77?
No, I do not. No.
Oh, man. What were your thoughts on the Steelers not drafting a quarterback? Did you love it?
I loved it. Don't draft a quarterback if you're not going to get the top guy or one of the top guys.
I agree.
It's just a waste.
Why? And get a guy in UDFA.
Yeah.
Who
can fill that role. Yeah. No, we got to go big when we're ready, which is maybe next season. But I mean, we want to end this show soon. But I just want to ask you your opinion on the quarterbacks coming out because, dude, I don't like them. I started watching them now.
I like Ritter, obviously.
I don't like him that much.
Really?
I liked him at first because I will admit I was a victim of the highlight thing. I watched his highlights, and
highlight watcher.
His highlights
I'm
obviously are exciting because he's got a big arm.
I think he's got good film.
His film is not good. in my opinion.
And keep this in mind, he went back, so I don't want to penalize him because I think he'll be even better, but I think he would have had a chance to go as high as top 10 this year.
He was missing, dude. I forget which game it was, but I was watching a game. He missed so many deep shots that could have been home run touch. Like, I'm not exaggerating. He missed about 8 throws that should have been completed. That's just unacceptable.
So, all right. So there are guys in this draft class. I don't like Howell.
I like him the most, but I don't love him. That's my problem. So, like, to me, it's like there's no one.
You don't like Rattler?
Too small.
See, I love Ritter, and I like Rattler.
Wait. Yeah, Ritter. Right, Rattler. No, Rattler's too small for me. You know, I like my big quarterbacks.
I know. What about Malik Willis is probably too small then.
Is he from Louisville? Where's he from?
No, he's from La Tech, I think.
Oh, okay. Nah.
And then, then you have Slovis with USC.
I don't like him at all. He's so. It's like Jared.
He's a good
Goff.
college quarterback, but
it's like Jared Goff to me.
What about the other USC quarterback that transferred to Georgia? I forget his name.
I don't know.
I can't even think of it. The Barrier as well.
There needs to be one or two guys that steps up, is what I'm saying. Because right now, as it is,
you're saying this preseason though.
Right, they need to step up.
They can get better, obviously. That's
they
not
can
what
get better.
Yeah.
But someone needs to step up and come out of the woodwork because right now the Steelers have 0 prospects if they want to go high for a quarterback.
It happens every year though. Look at Zach Wilson. He just
Zach Wilson.
shot up out of the air. Trey Lance was there, but
yeah. Mac Jones, kinda.
No, because Mac Jones, you could tell.
People were calling him a first rounder.
Not a first rounder, but you could tell he'd be like a prospect, you know. Yeah. Kellen Mond was a really interesting one because he was supposed to come out last year, and I had him in my database, and I was like, you know what? He has some tools, but like.
I like him more than Ritter right now.
I don't know.
I do.
Mond can't
Dude,
even.
What game did you watch of Ritter? I need to figure out the game I watched.
Off the top of my head, I can't even recall. I just watched a bunch of them in succession, you know. I think they played Memphis.
But I soured on him, and that was supposed to be my guy.
So you're like, I'm depressed.
There's no one. Now there's no one. It's Sam Howell, who I think is too small for me. So literally, I don't like anyone.
So, I mean, at this point, you're like, please, Ben, stay another year.
Stay another year or someone step up.
Or Rudolph has no chance to be the franchise guy.
I pray to God they don't think he is.
I do worry about that.
Might.
And the way, like, what we keep hearing, like, how they really liked Trask and all that. Like, it scares me if that's the type of quarterback they're looking at, you know?
Yeah.
That's not modern, you know? Like, even like
close.
Stafford isn't like a dual threat, but Stafford can move. It's a difference, you know.
Well,
like Ben isn't
like
dual threat, but Ben can move.
Stafford is like a Ben. Like they're great in the pocket.
Pocket mobility, yeah.
Which is key. Mason Rudolph's a statue, bro.
So say because of that, there's nobody out there. Ben retires.
We're screwed.
You don't you're not going to try to trade for like a Derek Carr or somebody and try to save face.
I would really want to get our own guy in the draft. So I would say we sign Mason.
Well, DJ Ugalele from Clemson, is he coming out next year, do you think?
I don't know.
I don't know if he's a junior. He's really good. He was their 5-star prospect guy to take over for Lawrence.
Is he big?
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember exactly. I think he's like 6'3". But like he's the guy that took over for Trevor Lawrence when they played against Notre Dame.
Okay.
This past year.
Okay.
So remember the COVID thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, Ugalele or I don't know how to say his name, but
it's scary, man. I think the worst. I mean, I don't know. Someone's got to step up because if Ben retires, the Steelers are going to let Mason play, and he's going to get you. I mean, he's good enough to get you like 7 wins, and then you're stuck in the middle of everything.
Maybe you guys will go out and you'll trade for somebody. Yeah. I think that's probably what you would do, to be honest with you. And free agency. There's a lot of quarterbacks in this league that, like, I don't know. Like, I think a Derek Carr would be fine. I wouldn't mind them going out and trading now and signing him to a deal
Derek
now.
Carr?
Not Carr, but the guy behind him, Mariota.
I'm good.
No, I think he'd be a good backup, and then you could try to see what you have in him next year. Whatever you have, keep
I'm not
this
a
in mind.
big pick up people's projects kind of guy. I'm like, if we're gonna have a project, I want to draft them.
All right, so you know how the Rams, obviously, they go out and trade Stafford. You wouldn't be interested in making a trade like that?
Nah. Unless it was like, let me think of some names. There's no one. Like who? Who would that be? Who would be the Stafford?
I'm trying to think. I mean, it has to probably be like a guy like Locke, who's not Stafford, but like it'd be Locke or Bridgewater, one of those guys.
No.
And then
Neither of them are as good as Stafford.
And then the Eagles. Well, the Eagles probably no.
If there was like a Carson Wentz situation again, I would do it.
There's just not really anything. We have to wait until the season goes through, too. Like, there could be something that comes up, you know? No one thought the Deshaun Watson thing was going to come up or anything. So, I mean, there's a lot. But, yeah.
All right.
Good show.
Good stuff, man.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to head out of here. We'll be back next weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll talk to you guys soon.